All my working life, I have been involved in inspection of ships. I have been on board hundreds of ships, and I have been inside thousands of cargo holds, cargo tanks, ballast tanks, void spaces, cofferdams, so-called enclosed spaces.
On this particular day, Alf Martin was called at short notice to inspect a vessel. It was not a complicated inspection, a big flat-top barge that carried stones across the North Sea. Due to the general condition of the barge, it had been decided to call for a spot check of the internal structures, including some ballast tanks and a void space at the fore end of the barge.
I am the first one to enter this void space. I noticed it was terribly rusty. There was a wet atmosphere, there was some water in the bottom of it. There was something wrong with the air. I was not afraid, I had no kind of warning or I just felt, kind of careless about the whole thing. I continued to take photographs until I felt my legs gave way and I felt I had to sit down. So I sat down on one of the frames, and that's the last thing I remember.
An enclosed space is one that has limited openings for entry and exit, has inadequate ventilation, and is not designed for continuous worker occupation. If an empty tank or other enclosed space has been closed for some time, the atmosphere may have become oxygen deficient. Rusting is one common reason. So is the presence of oxygen-consuming cargoes, such as grains, wood products, and coal. Gases from volatile cargoes or from painting can also displace the oxygen in tanks. In this case, it was rust that caused the reduced oxygen level in the void space. Luckily for Alf Martin, the superintendent on deck understood that there was a lack of oxygen in the void space and called for help. Although not according to standard procedures, a large bottle of oxygen, for cutting purposes, was brought from a shoreside workshop and slowly released into the tank, reviving Alf Martin.
I managed to stand up again and walk to the ladder and climb out. And when my head and shoulders got through the narrow manhole, to my surprise, there was a lot of people on deck. There was the superintendent, there was the workers from the yard, there was 2 policemen, there was 3 ambulance people in white gowns, there was 4 or 5 firemen in full gear. They had helmets, they had oxygen bottles, they had ropes, and there was even a journalist and a photographer. And I thought, but I had only been inside that tank during 2-3 minutes. But I must have been in there at least for 15 minutes for all these people to arrive at the scene.
Even trained professionals can make mistakes. Alf Martin was experienced, and he knew the danger of entering enclosed spaces. Still, that day, he made what he describes as the greatest mistake of his life. He entered a void space without testing its atmosphere first and collapsed due to the lack of oxygen inside.
Normally you are supported by a deck officer to take you around, and if you enter any tanks you will always ask him if the atmosphere of the tank has been examined or if he has been inside himself, etc. There was no one to guide us around. The superintendent who joined me for this inspection, he also hadn't been on board. He came the same morning. So both of us, we had long experience with entering tanks, but we felt that this barge was such an easy object to inspect, and we entered tanks without ensuring that there was a breathable atmosphere within the tanks.
We can survive for weeks without food, days without water, but only minutes without air. And it is the oxygen in the air that is essential for life. The effects of too little oxygen are largely health-related, ranging from a mild headache to permanent brain damage and death.
I had 10.5% oxygen in the air inside that tank. So I should not have been able to come out of that tank. A lot of people under similar conditions, they have not manage to get out. I was lucky.
The additional tragedy of these enclosed space accidents has been the deaths occurring from impulsive or ill-prepared rescue attempts, when well-intentioned crew have attempted a rescue without taking adequate precautions. It is critical to have a rescue plan in place and to position the relevant rescue and resuscitation equipment ready for use at the entrance to the space. Far too many lives have been lost at sea, either during enclosed space operations or in attempting to rescue the initial victims. Between the years 2000 and 2024, more than 1,000 people, both seafarers and shore-based workers, lost their lives in enclosed spaces aboard ships, in most cases due to hazards already well understood. Almost half of these fatalities were caused by asphyxiation, resulting from oxygen depletion or exposure to toxic gases. These findings are drawn from an analysis by the International Bulk Terminals Association, shared at the IMO in 2025. The highest numbers occurred on bulk carriers and tankers, which together accounted for more than 60% of all asphyxiation-related enclosed space fatalities. While most of these fatalities occurred inside cargo holds and tanks, a significant number also occurred at their points of access. Around 15% of those who died in asphyxiation-related accidents were rescuers. Many of them experienced seafarers in high-ranking positions. It is mandatory on all SOLAS ships to conduct enclosed space drills at intervals not exceeding 2 months. The problem with regulatory enforcement is, however, that good intentions often become paper-pushing exercises. To prevent death and injury, it is important to ensure that those involved in the drill understand that the purpose of enclosed space entry procedures is to prevent accidents and not simply to satisfy the regulators. Ideally, drills should be conducted as if there was a real emergency, including checking and usage of personal protective equipment required for entry, communication equipment and procedures, instruments for measuring the atmosphere in enclosed spaces, rescue equipment and procedures, and instructions in first aid and resuscitation techniques. After a drill, share the lessons learned and update procedures if necessary. In June 2025, the IMO adopted a new resolution, significantly strengthening the recommendations for entering enclosed spaces aboard ships. Ships should now maintain a comprehensive, ship-specific enclosed space register, identifying all enclosed spaces, their hazards, ventilation, testing procedures, and control measures. In addition to testing for oxygen, flammability, and toxicity, the atmosphere should be checked for carbon dioxide. Solo entry is not recommended, and roles and responsibilities should be clearly defined before any entry, including competent person, responsible person, and attendant. All entries should follow a formal, time-limited permit-to-work system, not exceeding 8 hours, with reassessment if conditions change. The latest resolution also recommends access to enclosed spaces to be physically controlled and clearly marked as safe or unsafe to enter. Let's learn from our surveyor Alf Martin's near-fatal mistake. The message is clear. Before entering an enclosed space, stop and assess the situation. Test the atmosphere before entry. Ventilate if necessary, and retest. Confirm that oxygen levels are safe for entry and ensure that the permit-to-work process is in place and fully complied with. No deadline or time saving is worth a human life. Knowledge and training save lives, including yours. For more information on enclosed space risks and loss prevention advice, visit GARD's website.